In the softly lit confines of a university hostel room, a young woman named Adaku, also known to her English-speaking friends as Ada, sat before her mirror. She gently ran a brush through the long, wavy strands of her human hair wig. A soft sigh escaped her lips as she admired the way the warm brown color caught the dim light. This was her most prized possession, a wig she had ordered from a seller overseas, a significant expense for her. Earlier that day she had worn it out, but as was their usual practice, she had lent it to her closest friend, Chinwei, whom some of her other friends called Chi-Chi, or simply Chi. Chai had only just returned it about an hour ago. Suddenly, a cold shiver traced its way down Ada's spine. An unsettling feeling washed over her, a sense that something was not quite right. Her fingers trembled slightly as she reached for the wig, intending to place it back on the mannequin head she used for storage. Just as her hand touched the soft hair, bim! The lights flickered erratically and then plunged the room into darkness. A strange, heavy atmosphere seemed to fill the air. Ada's breath caught in her throat as she heard a faint whisper, like a breath near her ear. Ada. Ada. She froze, her eyes wide in the darkness. The faint reflection she could still see in the mirror seemed to waver, and then for a fleeting moment she saw a twisted, shadowy version of herself grinning back at her from within the glass. A scream tore from Ada's lips, and then everything went black. Before these strange happenings, before the sense of betrayal began to creep in, before the whispers seemed to dance in the dark corners of her mind, Ada's world had been one of friendship, a bond she believed to be strong and unbreakable. Ada and Chi had been best friends since they were little girls. They had grown up together in the bustling heart of Benin City, amidst the lively streets of Ogboloba, where the rich aroma of pepper soup and suya filled the air. Their mothers were close friends, their fathers business associates, and their connection was often spoken of as something special, almost divinely ordained. So, when they both gained admission to the prestigious Royal Heritage University, it was only natural that they decided to become roommates. Ada came from a comfortable background, her family quite wealthy. Chi, while not poor, had never experienced the level of luxury that Ada was accustomed to. Ada possessed many beautiful things. Fashionable clothes, expensive handbags, the latest smartphones, and most notably a collection of exquisite wigs. Oh, her wigs were the envy of many. She had all styles, long and short, curly and straight, sleek and wavy. Her wigs were made from the finest human hair, sourced from Brazil, India, and Vietnam. And Ada, being a kind and generous soul, often shared them with Chi-Chi, who owned only one or two synthetic wigs, was frequently borrowing Ada's. At first, Ada didn't mind at all. "Bestie," she would say with a smile, "you know I can't let you go out looking just anyhow. Take this one, it will suit you perfectly." Chi would always beam with gratitude, wear the wig with pride, and return it a few days later. However, a strange pattern began to emerge. Every time Chi returned a wig, Ada would feel slightly unwell. Initially, it was just minor things, a dull headache, a sudden wave of dizziness. But then the dreams started. She would find herself in unfamiliar, unsettling places, dark, dense forests, ancient-looking shrines, standing before figures with masked faces who whispered things she could never quite recall upon waking. Still, Ada dismissed these occurrences, attributing them to stress from schoolwork. Then the real trouble began. Ada, who had always been an excellent student, sharp, disciplined, and hardworking, received a failing grade on a test she was certain she had aced. She was in disbelief. She went to see the lecturer, Dr. Emeka, a strict but fair man, and pleaded with him to recheck her paper. He did, but there was no mistake. The script in front of him was undeniably hers, yet the handwriting was almost illegible, filled with scribbles and nonsense. Ada was utterly perplexed. More strange things followed. She started losing her belongings. Her favorite gold bracelet vanished, her designer shoes disappeared, even money and her ATM card would go missing, only to reappear later in places she had already thoroughly searched. The screen of her phone cracked inexplicably. One evening, while standing in front of her mirror, she caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing behind her. She spun around quickly, but no one was there. Despite all these unsettling events, Ada still hesitated to believe that anything truly sinister was happening. Then, one day, she fainted in the middle of the campus. When she regained consciousness, she was in the university's medical bay. Chi was right beside her, holding her hand, her eyes filled with what seemed like genuine concern. "Bestie, you scared me. You've been overworking yourself. You need to rest." Ada nodded weakly, but deep down, a nagging feeling persisted that something was terribly wrong. The breaking point came one fateful evening. Ada had become more cautious. She had started keeping her cherished wigs locked away in a special drawer, only lending them out on rare occasions. One evening, Chi pleaded with her to borrow one of her most beloved wigs for a party. "Just for tonight, please, my sister," Chi begged, her voice sweet. "You know I will return it first thing in the morning." Ada hesitated. Something deep inside her screamed no, but she didn't want to seem selfish or unkind, so she reluctantly handed it over. That night, Ada couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned in her bed, a knot of unease tightening in her stomach. Around midnight, she was jolted awake by the sound of voices whispering outside their hostel window. She recognized Chi's voice among the others. Curious and increasingly worried, Ada tiptoed to the window and peered out. Her heart nearly stopped. Chi was standing beneath the large mango tree just outside their window, talking to two strange-looking women. In Chi's hands, Ada saw her wig. One of the women, an older woman with distinct tribal markings on her face, took the wig, held it up towards the moon, and began to chant in a low, rhythmic language Ada didn't understand. A wave of icy dread washed over Ada. Chi had always told her she returned the wigs after using them. Now, the horrifying truth dawned on her. Her best friend was taking them elsewhere, for some unknown and turn-feeing purpose. Her heart pounded in her chest as she heard the old woman whisper, her voice laced with a chilling certainty. "Her destiny is already shifting. Just a few more times, and all that is hers will be yours." Ada stumbled back from the window, her legs feeling like jelly. Chi was the cause of all her recent misfortunes, her own best friend. Tears welled up in her eyes, a bitter taste rising in her throat. How could she? All the love, all the kindness Ada had shown her, had it all been a lie? Chi wasn't just borrowing her wigs, she was offering them for something darker, something beyond Ada's comprehension. And it was working. Ada had lost grades, money, even her peace of mind. She had to stop this. She had to fight back. But how? And most importantly, was it already too late? Ada stood frozen at the window, her breath caught in her throat. The realization hit her with the force of a physical blow. Her best friend, her sister in all but blood, Chi, had been behind everything. The whispers outside continued, but Ada couldn't bear to listen anymore. She backed away slowly, her mind reeling. What was she supposed to do? Confront Chi? Pretend she hadn't seen anything? Run away? She had no answers. The next morning, Chi returned the wig with a bright, innocent smile, placing it gently in Ada's hands. "Bestie, thank you. Oh, this your wig is just too fine. See how everyone was admiring me yesterday?" She chirped, twirling playfully. Ada forced a weak smile, nodding, though her fingers felt like they were burning as they held the cursed wig. "You're welcome," she muttered, her throat dry. For the first time, she noticed something unsettling in Chi's eyes. A fleeting glint, a flash of something unreadable, something wrong. But she said nothing, too afraid to voice her suspicions. Days turned into weeks, and Ada's condition worsened. The headaches intensified, coming in sharp, blinding waves that left her dizzy and weak. Her once radiant skin began to lose its glow, becoming dull and lifeless. Then came the nightmares, more vivid and terrifying than before. Every night she found herself trapped in a dark, endless forest, hearing whispers in a strange language, unseen hands reaching out from the shadows, clawing at her, tugging at her hair, whispering her name. "Ada, Ada." She would wake up drenched in cold sweat, her heart pounding with terror. Her other friends started noticing the drastic changes. "Ada, are you okay? You don't look well," one of her course mates, Ngozi, asked one day after class. "You're losing weight." "Ah, she's just suffering from heartbreak," another girl teased, but there was a concerned edge to her voice. Ada forced a laugh, shaking her head. "I'm fine, just stress." But she was far from fine. Then the worst happened. One morning she woke up to find angry red itchy rashes spreading across her arms. She gasped, staring in horror. "What is this?" she whispered, scratching frantically at the inflamed skin. Within days, the rashes spread, covering her back, her neck, even her face. And it didn't stop there. Painful boils began to appear. big, red, pus-filled boils that throbbed and burned relentlessly. She couldn't hide them. Her friends started avoiding her. Some whispered that it was a spiritual attack. Others muttered about bad luck or karma. She must have offended some people. Maybe she went to places she shouldn't have. "This is not normal sickness, she needs deliverance," one of them said fearfully. Even her favorite professor, Dr. Adebayo, called her aside after class, his brow furrowed with concern. "Ada, my dear, have you seen a doctor?" She nodded weakly. "Yes, sir, but the medications aren't working." Dr. Adebayo sighed, his expression grave. "Go home, my child. Go and find help." That night, as Ada lay in bed feeling miserable and itchy, Chi walked in. "Bestie, what is all this?" she asked, her voice dripping with false concern. "I don't know, Chi," Ada croaked, hugging herself tightly. Chai sat beside her, rubbing her back soothingly. "Sorry, you know what? Let me help you braid your hair so you can cover the rashes on your scalp." Ada tensed. "No need," she said quickly, pulling away slightly. Chai's eyes flickered with something unreadable. "Are you sure? I can even lend you one of my wigs if you want." Ada's stomach twisted. Her wigs? When had she started buying human hair wigs? She had never had the money for such things, unless she had taken everything from Ada. Ada swallowed hard. "No, I'm fine," she whispered. For the first time, she saw it clearly. Chai wasn't just her friend, she was her enemy, and Ada had been blind all along. By the end of the semester, Ada was a mere shadow of her former self. Her skin was covered in painful sores, her body weak and frail. Her once beautiful face was now almost unrecognizable. She was failing her courses, her social life had vanished, and she barely had the strength to eat. And yet, Chai continued to borrow her wigs. "This one is just too fine, bestie. Just for 2 days, I beg," Chi would say, her eyes pleading. Ada was too exhausted and defeated to argue. She would simply nod and let her take them. Then, one night, as she lay in bed drifting in and out of a painful sleep, she heard voices outside her window again. This time, a spark of resolve flickered within her. Weakly, she dragged herself out of bed, tiptoed to the window, and peered out. There was Chi again, standing under the mango tree. She wasn't alone. A group of women stood around her, their faces painted with white chalk, their hands raised towards the sky. In Chi's hands was Ada's favorite wig, the one she had worn on the day she won the school's beauty pageant the previous year. The women chanted in eerie, hypnotic voices. Chi held up the wig and declared, her voice filled with a chilling triumph, "Let all that she has be mine. Her beauty, her fortune, her destiny. I take them all." Ada's knees buckled. It was true. Chi had been stealing her destiny. Her wigs weren't just wigs, they were channels, and every time she lent one out, she was giving away a piece of herself. She had to put a stop to it, but how? She felt utterly alone, with no strength and no one to turn to, until she remembered the stories her grandmother used to tell, stories of a powerful prophetess in their hometown. Summoning every ounce of strength left in her body, Ada made a decision. She was going home. She packed a small bag and, without telling anyone, boarded the first bus back to Benin City. Her mother wept when she saw her. "Jesus, Ada, what happened to you?" Ada could only manage a weak cry. "Mama, help me." Her mother didn't hesitate. She took Ada straight to Prophetess Liabo, a renowned woman of God, known for her ability to see hidden things. The moment Prophetess Liabo saw Ada, she gasped, her eyes wide with shock. "Who has done this to you, my child? Who have you offended?" she asked, her voice thick with wisdom and concern. Ada's lips trembled. I don't know." The prophetess placed her hands gently on Ada's head and closed her eyes for a long moment. The room fell silent. Then she spoke, her voice grave. "Your own sister has been stealing your glory." Ada's heart clenched. "She is not my sister. She is my best friend." The prophetess shook her head sadly. "She is your worst enemy." Tears streamed down Ada's face. How do I break free?" The prophetess smiled knowingly. "You will fight fire with fire. Tonight we will see who has the real power." Prophetess Liabo instructed Ada to kneel before a single burning candle. The room filled with the scent of burning incense, and the rhythmic beating of a talking drum created an eerie, spiritual atmosphere. "Tonight God in the heavens will bear witness," the prophetess said, dipping her fingers into a bowl of consecrated oil. Ada shivered as the cool oil touched her forehead. "Do not be afraid, my child. The enemy has gathered, but they shall scatter." Ada's mother sat nearby, weeping softly, calling upon God, their ancestors, and every force of good to help her daughter. "You must listen carefully," the prophetess continued. "Chai has taken more than just your beauty. She has taken your light, your favor, and your destiny. That is why you suffer. But the spirits have spoken. They will fight for you tonight. You must not sleep. We will call upon the heavens to return all that was stolen." Ada nodded weakly, her body aching, her soul desperate for relief. At that same hour, miles away, Chai was at another gathering. She stood before the same old woman in a hidden shrine deep within the thick forests outside Benin City. The air was heavy with the smell of burning herbs. The walls of the shrine were covered in strange red and black markings. A small calabash filled with murky water sat before them, a single strand of golden-brown hair floating within it. "The final step is near," the old woman said, stirring the water with a gnarled finger. "Tonight her soul will be weakened, and all she has will be yours forever." She smiled, a look of cruel satisfaction on her face. "She is already finished. By tomorrow she won't be able to rise from her bed." The old woman chuckled darkly. "Then let us begin." She threw a handful of black powder into a small fire, and thick, acrid smoke rose into the air. She took out Ada's most recent wig, the one she had borrowed just days ago. She held it high above the flames. "I take everything. Let her be nothing but dust," she chanted, her voice filled with malice. The fire roared, and at that exact moment back in the prophetess's room, Ada let out a blood-curdling scream. Her body convulsed violently as unseen forces seemed to pull at her. Her skin burned, her head felt like it was splitting in two. Her mother cried out in fear, "Prophetess, what is happening?" The prophetess stood firm, raising her staff. "They are trying to claim the final piece of her soul, but they will fail." She turned to Ada, her voice fierce. "Say these words after me." Ada could barely speak, but she tried, her voice hoarse and trembling. "I reject every stolen glory. I take back what is mine. I break every evil chain." The moment she uttered those words, the candle beside her exploded with a loud crack. The air in the room grew thick with a powerful electric charge. Miles away in the shrine, Chi suddenly stumbled backward, clutching her chest. "What is happening?" she screamed as her body shook uncontrollably. The old woman's eyes widened in terror. "Something is resisting! Someone is fighting back!" The fire in the shrine dimmed, and the wig Chi held turned to ashes in her hands. "No, this is impossible!" And then the shrine itself began to tremble violently. Back in the prophetess's home, Ada was now on her feet, a new strength surging through her body. The painful boils on her skin began to fade, the angry rashes disappearing before their very eyes. The prophetess raised her hands higher, hers ringing with power. "Every stolen star, return! Every lost blessing, be restored." A deafening boom shook the ground. Chai, back in the collapsing shrine, let out a piercing scream as she was thrown to the ground, blood oozing from her nose, her body convulsing. "My power! My beauty!" she wailed. The old woman grabbed her, shaking her violently. "You fool! You have lost everything. The spirits have rejected you." Chi's eyes widened in horror as she looked down at her hands. Her skin was changing. Her body, once glowing and seemingly perfect, was now covered in the same angry boils and rashes that had tormented Ada. "No! This can't be happening!" she cried out in despair. The old woman tried to flee the collapsing shrine, but before she could reach the entrance, a mighty wind swept through the forest, tearing through the shrine, knocking down the clay pots and scattering the burning embers. Chi screamed as flames licked at her skin. "Help me!" she begged, but there was no one left to save her. And as the shrine crumbled around her, Ada, back in the prophetess's home, took a deep, steadying breath, feeling finally free. The next moment, Ada woke up to find herself completely healed. Her skin was smooth, her body felt strong, and the dark circles under her eyes had vanished. Her mother wept tears of joy, hugging her tightly. "My daughter, you are whole again." Ada smiled, a genuine, radiant smile for the first time in months. Prophetess Liabo watched them with knowing eyes. "The battle was won in the spirit realm before it manifested in the physical," she said calmly. Ada nodded, a profound understanding dawning within her. She had learned a harsh lesson. Not all those who call themselves friends are truly so. Some come with hidden intentions, to steal, to destroy, to betray, and now she knew better. Back at the university, news spread like wildfire. Chai had been found the next morning, her body covered in grotesque sores, her once vibrant beauty completely gone. Her classmates whispered in horror, unable to comprehend the transformation. What happened to her? She looks like a shadow of her former self. Chai dropped out of school shortly after, unable to face the world in her changed state. As for Ada, she never lent another wig again. She returned to school a few weeks later, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. Her grades improved, her health was restored, and her confidence blossomed. Her life, her destiny, her beauty, everything that had been stolen had been returned, and this time she would guard it fiercely. The experience taught Ada a valuable and lasting lesson. Not everyone who smiles with you is truly your friend. Some friendships are blessings, while others are cleverly disguised curses. Be careful who you share your life, your possessions, and your trust with, because not all hands that touch you wish you well. Guard your destiny, protect your blessings, and never ignore the subtle warning signs. True friendship uplifts and supports, but fake friends will only take and ultimately destroy. Choose wisely. Wow, what a powerful and eye-opening story. If you found this tale compelling and learned something valuable, don't forget to like and share it. Have you ever experienced a betrayal from someone you trusted? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to check out other gripping and insightful stories on this channel. And most importantly, share this video with your friends and family so they too can learn from this profound and cautionary tale. Until next time, stay safe, stay wise, and always protect your blessings. See you in the next story.